What's up, Region 4? This is Jeremy Chance with your Region 4 Communications Committee. I'm partnering here with a fellow committee member, Joanna Valencia of Texas Tech. We're here to bring you our newest in the conversation series as we celebrate Black History Month. Black History Month is the annual celebration of achievements by Black and African Americans in a time to recognize and celebrate their central role in our U.S. history. Region 4 is no different. We want to highlight and celebrate our Black and African American colleagues. And for today's conversation, we have more of a competitive sports focused one. We're joined by John Randle and Demetria. Hey guys, how are y'all?
Good. Thanks
Awesome.
for having us.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us. So we'll go ahead and start off, Demetria, with you, and then we'll transition to John. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your position, where you're at now, and how you got to that position.
For sure. So I'm Demetria Young, as you can see on my screen, coordinator of sport clubs and camps at LSU. I started May 2020, so right after I graduated. I graduated from Indiana State University with a GA in comp sports. So first year I was intramurals, and then the second year I did sport clubs. And then before that, I was at Eastern Kentucky University, where I did my undergrad, and I got started in NIRSA probably my senior year. So that was kind of the same year as I graduated early in undergrad. And I was a program assistant there, where I taught officials and the supervisors how to do volleyball. I have a certification, I used to have a certification in officiating volleyball and then basketball as well temporarily. Before that, I did AAU sports for about 3 years, where I helped run tournaments, create leagues and in-house leagues as well as externally. And that's kind of where I fell in love with sport, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And yeah.
Absolutely welcome. John, how about you?
Yeah, so my name is John Randle. I am currently the assistant director for intramural sports at the University of Kansas. I've been here now, for 9 years. Now, it's crazy to say, right? Prior to that, I was a graduate assistant for intramural sports and facilities at the University of Iowa in Iowa City. And prior to that, I began my campus rec career as an undergraduate student employee at the University of North Texas. I began, just like many of us, working that entry-level intramural officials position, got the bug, got promoted up to a supervisor, caught the bug even more. Bug is in like pre-COVID. Right, I should probably say that now. Fell in love with campus rec and everything campus rec related, just decided to stay with it. And now I am currently at the University of Kansas, loving every day that I get a chance to work with students and get a chance to work with some great professionals in Region 4.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, so we're going to get things going with our first question. So it's a 3-part question. What does Black History Month mean to you? How do you celebrate your own identity as a Black man or woman? And why is it important to you?
Got it. So what does Black History Month mean to me? So actually, I was kind of thinking about this question quite a bit, because I was like, I get it. It's a month and it's dedicated to Black people. At the same time, I don't think it should be narrowed to just 1 month. Like, we should be celebrating each of our heritages every day. I'm glad that, we have a month. Now it's the shortest month, so there's pros and cons to it. It means that, a lot of the focus on, publicity and what we see every day on social media is going to be tailored to Black History Month. But at the same time, it's Valentine's Day to me. Like, this is what this month's focus is, Valentine's Day. So love. And then also, like, a lot of us, I don't really know. I never did the ancestry.com thing, so I can't really tell you exactly where my ancestors are from or what they did. So Black History Month means to me, like, MLK Day. It means, learning about what Rosa Parks did and reminding myself how far we've come in such a short time too, as well. Oh, we answered all 3 parts? Okay. How I celebrate, really, I just learned something new. Like, I read a different quote or each day in the morning and kind of get my day started that way. Or I find different ways I can implement, different things with our programs. So like with sport clubs, and highlight the students who affiliate with that month as well as we do for any other month I'm gonna try to do as well. And then it's important to me because, it's a reminder in a sense. Like, it's a reminder of we've come a long way, but at the same time, we have a lot of growth and development that we need to do as oneself and as, you know, a nation. So.
Awesome, thank you. And John?
Yeah. So the question is, what does Black History Month mean to me? And I guess I'll preface this along with the rest of the responses throughout the course of this conversation with me personally. Like, what does Black History Month mean to John, as well as the rest of these questions? For me, I grew up with a passion for history. And so I actually have an undergraduate degree in history. So I kind of have a little bit of knowledge of kind of the Black person struggle, not just in this country, but across the globe. And so Black History Month, the month of February, is an opportunity for me to kind of go back and re-educate myself on the things that I learned as a student growing up in high school, as a student at the University of North Texas when it comes to Black history. And so to me, it means a considerable amount, because I also am fortunate enough to have two parents that were pioneers in different aspects of their life. The first Black to do this, or the first Black to do that, or one of the first Blacks to get the opportunities that they had. And so to me, I have a unique perspective on Black History Month because I'm able to see it from a historical standpoint, from what you read in textbooks, but then also to actually get a chance to grow up with it and live it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, by learning from two incredible examples that I was fortunate to have and am still fortunate to have. How do I celebrate Black History Month? Again, like I said earlier, it's an opportunity for me to go back and re-educate myself on some of the struggles that we as a people have experienced. It's also a great reminder to reiterate to myself that it wasn't that long ago. You know, when we think about civil rights movement back in the 60s, that was what, 60 years ago. My parents are still alive and they lived through that. And so it's incredibly important for me to remember those times and to that it's not that long ago that Black people were asking for equal rights, equal rights. And so that's really important to me to celebrate that remembrance. And then the importance of Black History Month, and again, is just to reiterate that we've come a long way. We honestly have, both as Black people, as well as a country and as a human population, but there's still a tremendous amount of work left to do.
Yeah,
Awesome, thank you. Thank you
yeah,
so
good
much.
way to end. Yeah, still a lot of work to do, and hopefully we're here to highlight some of that work that still needs to be done. So, well, John, we'll start with you on this next question. So talk a little bit about your experiences working with people that look like you, whether it's, you know, student employees, fellow professional staff. If you've had that experience at some of the schools that you've been in, then Demetria,
Sure.
will turn it to you. So just maybe talk a little bit about the student staff, how they look, professional staff as well.
So that's actually one of the great things about our region, is it spans all the way from the southern tip of Texas up to the northeastern tip of Kansas, which is where we are. And
Missouri,
so
Missouri, even more north.
Oh yeah, I guess northeast. Yeah. I guess I left out Missouri, but yeah, just the vast geography of our region allows Region 4 to interact in so many different types of demographics. When I was in Texas, I had an opportunity to work more with a diverse population of students than when I was either at Iowa or currently at the University of Kansas. Now, I still get an opportunity to work with people that look like me, and I really value those opportunities to, I don't know if mentor is the right word, but when I get a chance to work with a student of color, specifically a Black student, my number one objective is to prove to them and to reiterate to them that they matter on this campus and that they can do anything that they want to do and anything that they set their mind to. They're going to have to work harder than anybody else. That's just a reality of the situation. I'll be there fighting with them, right beside them, in front of them at times and behind them at times. But when I get a chance to work with a Black student, the number one goal with them is to let them know that they are able to accomplish anything that they want to, learning how to call a foul, learning how to enforce a flag guarding penalty. All that stuff is secondary to learning that you matter, to having confidence to step into environments where you might be the only minority, and to command that environment when some people might not believe that you even deserve to be there. And so giving them that confidence, giving them that self-worth, giving them that self-esteem is one of the greatest achievements and one of the greatest opportunities that I think this position allows. And I think,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, no, well said, Demetria.
Kind of echo what John said. So I'm kind of the younger professional between the two for sure, and probably everybody else on this call, but my experience goes from a student perspective to a progressing professional perspective. And from a student perspective, it was different. Like being the program assistant at EKU, it was more so like, okay, I'm just here for like the 2 or 3 hours I need to be here, and then office hours, and then I'm gone. So I didn't really pay attention to anybody's race per se, or how many on staff were Black or how many on staff were white or anything else. It was more like, let me make sure you guys know what you're doing and how to do it, and let's get it done. But then when I got to my graduate assistant at Indiana State, it was more hours, it was more time, it was more energy and more focus. And with that, the students that we had, they looked like me, but I didn't realize that the reason that they stayed and the reason that they were involved in our program so much was because of me, until a couple of them came to me and they're like, Demetria, like, I feel safe, like I feel comfortable. I feel like, you have my best interest at heart. Like I can come to you and talk to you about anything. And I'm Greek, so I'm a Zeta. And with that, like young women who are interested in Greek life, even if it wasn't being a Zeta, they were like, I like officiating with you, but I'm interested in doing this org or this org. And how did that look for you? And being able to talk to them and work through, not just officiating or not just supervising, it was more so like, this is my personal life. This is, a big change, something that I would have to commit to for a long time. And still to this day, like they still text me or I'll reach out to them via email or anything like that. And they're like, thank you. Like, you got me through school. Like you kept me there. And at Indiana State, the Blacks and the minorities and anybody else that's there a lot of them come from a place that wasn't the best, education wise, or where education was decent, but like, the environment wise, like outside of school. So for them, it's more so like, I got to get paid. I got to get the money. I got to stay focused, and being able to keep them engaged in activities that were positive and help them have transferable skills that would transfer to any other job was like something phenomenal for me. And then coming here, like I'm still getting used to, everybody and learning who's all where, but the students are great. Like there's Black, there's white, there's everything. So for me, they still come to me. I remember my first 2 weeks here, one of my officers came in and they were like, it feels good that you're here. Like I feel like you're here to help me grow, to help me learn. It's different for me to have somebody in your position that is the same complexion as me. And I didn't realize how like big that was. Like for me, I was like, okay, I'm just a coordinator. Like, like what is that? But for them, it's like, no, like you're a voice, like on a professional staff, like where I'm coming from. So it feels good.
Awesome. All right, so understanding the importance of representation, who have been maybe some icons, some role models that have impacted you either in rec sports or maybe otherwise? So Demetria, if you want to kick this off.
For sure. So I'm gonna name out some names. One in particular I'm gonna save for last because I'm gonna hear about it later. So like I said, in my GA at Indiana State, they have a first year GA and a second year. So the first year is over intramurals, the second year is over club sports, and they kind of work together and help each other out. Mind you, one small office, and you're sitting, well, it's kind of big, but you're sitting literally 20 feet from the next person, and you have no choice but to be best friends. And that brings me to my first role model icon, Ricky Scott. He's at DePaul University. He's the assistant director of club sports there. And he literally got me through my first year as a grad assistant. Like I would have never completed it. I was like, I'm done. This is crazy. What is this? Who does soccer? But because of him, like, I'm here today and consistently, like he's in my corner. He's on my board of directors. Like he knows the ins and outs of Demetria, which there's many faces. Then I would say Sheena Harvey. She's at University of Nevada, Reno, and she's the associate director there. She's literally me in older form. And I met her at ERSL last year, and we connected like immediately. And to this day, like she gets my perspective, but she also knows how to teach me to navigate, you know, the professional realm of everything. And she's also on my board of directors. And then last but not least, Stan Shingles. Everybody knows Stan, and I met him at a hockey game, did not know who he was. Met him last year, and you would think we've known each other for years. Like, he literally gave me the best advice, and it was actually during my LSU interview. Like, he knew about it, but didn't tell me he knew about it, and I didn't know who he was. So we're at a hockey game. I have a beer in my hand, and it was just a very interesting conversation. But to this day, too, he still pushes me, asks me how I'm doing, checks in, and, you know, keeps me focused.
Awesome, thank you. And John?
Yeah, so I guess I have to lead off with my parents. They were the first role models that I ever had. Then my brothers, they were my second and third role models. At times, horrible role models, but they taught me what not to do. And by learning from their failures and successes, I learned how to be even more successful than them. From a rec services, a campus recreation standpoint, I think the two that I was fortunate enough to have in the beginning were Britton Sherry and Sheldon Tate. If you've worked in Region 4 for a while, then I'm pretty confident. If you've worked in NIRSA for a while, you've either heard Sheldon Tate from clear across the room, or at least you know of Sheldon Tate. Sheldon Tate is, when I first started as an official, he was my supervisor when he was an undergraduate student at the University of North Texas. And I think the one thing that I appreciate the most about him was that he'll tell you how it is straight up, whether you are of that mindset and that philosophy, or if you're not of that mindset and philosophy. He can kind of sugarcoat it and add some fluff to it if he can tell that it's not landing well with you. But I appreciate his bluntness. I appreciated his transparency. He's still a mentor that I lean on every now and then when I have questions about intramural sports stuff, about campus recreation stuff, or about life stuff, or if I just want to talk video games or cars. I know I can always call Sheldon Tate. And then Britton Sherry, who was my first supervisor at the University of North Texas. Britton is probably the most influential person in my life other than my parents. And I say that because Britton was an expert at treating people with humility, treating people with kindness, while still adding humor and recreation, fun to intramural sports. And I think he stands out because, just like Sheldon Tate, he treated me like a person. He didn't treat me as a Black person or as a white person or as a green person or as a yellow person. He just treated me as a student official, then as a student supervisor, and as a person. And I think that really resonated well with me. And even to this day, Britton is still one of my greatest mentors, if not the greatest mentor that I've ever had.
Awesome. Hopefully those people will tune in and kind of hear your shouts out.
I'll tell them.
We'll kind of get wrapping up here with just a couple more questions. Demetria, we'll start with you. What advice do you have maybe for young Black professionals following in your footsteps? I know you talked about some of those experiences that you've had, maybe not realizing the impact that you do have, but what advice can you give young Black professionals, women, men, following in your footsteps?
Well, first, I would like to say, check out our ERSL presentation that we just did about identity and addressing your needs and concerns. It's called Young, Black, and Educated, Underrepresented, but Not Defeated. And that is on the ERSL conference page as well. So that will highlight a lot of things that I will touch on. But one thing in particular is don't be afraid to have those tough conversations. So develop a board of directors. Like I said, I've had 3 people plus some others that are listed on there. And a lot of people don't explain what that is. So when you have your board of directors, these are people that know you professionally, that know you personally, that know who you are and how you think and how you respond to certain things. These people are going to be very blunt with you 9 times out of 10, and they're going to be people who are going to push you to be your best. And mine consists of my friends that I'm very, very close to, that know the ins and outs, to the people who know me professionally, and then solely know me on a professional realm, but still know me in a way that they can see how I navigate and think through things. So with that, it's important to utilize them to be able to have those tough discussions. Like a lot of times, you might not see eye to eye with your supervisor or with your department or anything like that. So instead of like, being sad and downplaying your feelings or, disassociating with the organization or anything, it's important that you go to them and have those conversations to learn about, oh, okay, am I thinking through this correctly, or did I misinterpret it, what they were saying? I think that's the first thing. So take a step back, take a deep breath, and don't necessarily react immediately, because everything doesn't need a reaction. Some things just need to be heard and to be known. And then also, you don't know what you don't know. So don't assume, and never feel like you're an outcast just because you look different. You're there for a reason. So the imposter syndrome is normal. It happens to everyone at some point. So it's important that you just stay focused and that you know what you're worth, and remind yourself of that every day.
Awesome. Helpful advice. John, what do you have?
Yeah, so the advice that I would have for a young Black professional is that they can either use their identity, however they choose to identify, as either a crutch or as a catalyst. What I mean by that is anybody who's a minority, especially if you're Black, right? We've all been there before, where you walk in a room and everybody does this, right? Because you're the only Black person in the room. And so those moments are unfortunate. So you can use them as a crutch and say, why is everybody doing that to me? I don't fit in here. I don't belong here. I need to leave here. Or you can use it as a catalyst and say, wow, everybody's looking at me. Now's my opportunity to prove to everybody that not only do I deserve to be here, but I'm going to make meaningful contributions to this room and to this organization. And I promise you, nobody's ever going to forget that I was in this room today. And so as we talked about Black History Month, and I alluded to earlier, it's a great time to go back and learn about the past. I can kind of equate that to what we do as professionals, right? That underrepresented, marginalized student. So when we talk about intramural sports, for an example, relating that to Black identity, we walk in a room and we feel like we're the only person there and nobody understands us. There are students on our campus who want to play intramural sports, but we may not necessarily have a sport for them. Maybe we don't understand them or understand their needs. And so if we can retrospectively look inside of ourselves and tackle those as Black people, right? Have that catalyst within us to be better. Use that same catalyst to make our areas, to make campus recreation, to make our universities, to make our communities better. And by reaching out to those underrepresented populations, to those marginalized individuals, right? We can give them that voice that either they don't have at the moment or they don't know that they have at the moment. And we can be that megaphone for them if they need it.
Awesome. Yeah, great.
Awesome, thank you. So to kind of wrap things up a little bit, so briefly, can you tell us maybe just one action item that non-Black folks can do to better support or be like an ally in pursuit of racial justice? So either one, Demetria or John, whichever would like to go first.
John, you're unmuted already.
Okay. I think it's important to understand that there are people who are marginalized. If we can at least begin from that, right, we have to understand that to begin getting better as a community and as a society. And so what I would challenge my white colleagues and white friends is, first and foremost, to understand that that does exist. We don't necessarily say it all the time. If we did, you might be surprised how many times we'd be saying that throughout the course of a day. But as long as we can understand that and begin from that perspective and that vantage point, then we can start getting into, okay, we've identified it. Now let's identify the causes of that, the root causes, and let's identify how we're going to navigate successfully through those challenges. And so the one tip of advice that I would have is just understand that those areas exist. Be cognizant of them. Depending on your relationships with your Black colleagues and your Black friends, if they're open to it, if they're open to a conversation, having those difficult conversations with them so that they can articulate to you where those exist and how frequently they exist. And again, campus recreation, NIRSA does a really good job of combating that and not allowing that to be a part of what we do. But if we take what we do in campus recreation, extend that to the university, extend that to our local communities, I think we can, one person at a time, make a small difference on a massive global scale.
Thank you, Demetria.
So for me, I'm an action-oriented person. So don't tell me you're an ally, show me. For example, Lori had me and the rest of the Black women here in this office. There's about 6 or 5 of us, and she scheduled a meeting with it's called a Tiffany Talks with Tiffany, if you guys have ever heard of it, with NIRSA. And she put us in the conference room, and she was right there with us, like listening to the conversation, engaging with us, and then asking us, afterwards, like, what'd you think? And, how was this and how was that? So just that little piece of just setting up a meeting for all of us to be together and watch something like that, instead of us being in our own offices doing it by ourselves, that was big. So I would say be action oriented. Don't tell me, oh, I'm an ally, how can I help you? No, it should just be, treat me just like you would anybody else. Like, show me that I matter just as much as the next person. And that when somebody does something that's, way to the left, you address it. You don't look to me to address it. You can stand up and do so.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah, I hope those action items can impact somebody, one person. John, like you said, it can be that larger impact. So, John, Demetria, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. We, hopefully we can use the platforms that we do have to amplify those voices, be that megaphone, highlight the good work of our Black and African American colleagues in this region. So we do thank you for your time. Region 4, stay tuned. We've got some more episodes coming throughout the month, and join us as we celebrate Black History Month. Thanks. We'll see you soon.